Hi, Matt with eTrailer. If you're looking for a cargo carrier that can just get a little bit more space out of your 2022 Ford Bronco Sport, then the Flint Hill Goods Steel Hitch Cargo Carrier is going to be a great option for you. Now, what's really nice about this is it's not adding too much space to the back of our vehicle, and in my opinion, it's in some cases a better option than a rooftop carrier. We have one installed today just to show you what we're talking about, but where a hitch cargo carrier is really going to surpass the rooftop carrier is if you have any items that have a lot of spillage to it and you don't want that getting into your vehicle, anything like mulch or concrete, then a hitch one's going to be better than a rooftop because you don't want that coming off the top of your roof. And the second reason is if you have anything that's really big, bulky, or heavy, that's going to be really difficult to get on top of your roof because you have to lift it way above your head as opposed to something you're just lifting up to about your knees. So let's check this out. Now this is going to have a pretty decent weight capacity, and that's going to be all the way up to 500 pounds. And that's really going to be pretty decent, but the space that we are allotted in this carrier isn't a whole lot. But that's okay if you're looking for something that's more compact. This is probably going to get you maybe a few bags or a couple pieces of luggage back here. And we put a bag in here just to kind of simulate what that's going to look like. Now if we want to take a closer look at what space we have in here, I'm going to take off my bag. And right now we have this strapped down. And that's one of the things I like about a steel carrier is you really don't have to worry about where you're like strapping something down. You don't have to worry about anything bending or flexing as you would with an aluminum hitch cargo carrier. Now the downside to that is if you have any hooks and those hooks are scraping against this finish, then it's going to be more prone to rusting in those points. So definitely keep an eye out for that. Now I'm going to get some measurements. First I'm going to grab a tape measure. And the first measurement I'm going to get is just going to be the interior. So you can have an idea of how much you can haul. That's going to be 52 inches wide, about a little bit over 17.5 inches long, and the height's going to be a little bit over 4 inches. So that's not too bad. It's going to give you some space to work with, but if you have anything that's really big and bulky, then I'd definitely watch out for that. If that's the case, then I'd recommend investing in a larger carrier. Just make sure you don't overload your hitch or your vehicle. Now, as far as how high you can stack these items, it's pretty much going to be whatever you want. Now, definitely watch out because at some point you're going to start blocking things. So, just in general, you're most likely going to be blocking your license plate and a lot of time, probably your backup camera too. But if I measure from our carrier and open up our hatch, we can see where we'd make contact with. That's going to be around 16 inches. So as long as you keep it below 16 inches, you'll be able to open up your hatch, but that's not very high. So in most cases, you're probably going to make contact with your hatch. So definitely watch out for that when you are hauling anything. In most cases, you might just have to take out whatever you're carrying. Now, let's get a few measurements on how far this is going to stick away. Going from our back bumper to the back of the carrier, that's going to be 24.5 inches, which isn't very far at all. It is something, though, to think about if you're in those really tight spots like a parking spot or garage. The ground clearance, that's going to be 13.5 inches. So that's not going to be super low. That's actually kind of high. Definitely think, though, if you do have something back here, that's going to drop maybe by an inch or two. But I don't see you being likely to making contact with the ground at any point. And as far as your taillights are concerned, we're not really going to block those most times because this is a little bit more of a narrow carrier, so that's definitely a plus. And your back window, you don't have to worry about that too much either. Now, for how this is going to install, we're going to have a 2-inch shank, and that's going to go into your 2-inch hitch receiver. we're going to have an anti-rattle bolt that comes through and connects to the other side with a nut. The way this is designed is for you to grab onto one side and tighten the other, which can be a little bit awkward at points, but it definitely does help with that rattling. I still do see a little bit of rattling though when we just take a look at that up and down movement. This, we're still going to get a fair bit amount, but if you have this loaded down with gear, that's definitely going to reduce that. But our side-to-side movement is really good. This is very secure. Now, in my opinion, I think this is a great carrier. If you are looking for something not to live back here full time, you want the ability to really take it off and store it somewhere, because it's not going to be a very heavy carrier either. Like I said earlier, in some cases this is going to be a better option than something on your roof, because it's just going to be easier to take on and off whatever you're carrying. Now, if you are carrying items or straps that have a lot of hooks to it and you are worried about this rusting over time, then I'd recommend an aluminum hitch cargo carrier. Flint Hill Goods makes one of those as well. Now, I will say the one that is a very similar size to this is actually slightly larger. I tried it out earlier today. I like the fit, and I think you can get a little bit more out of it too if you're trying to carry items. But at the end of the day, it's really just going to come down to what your preference is. Do you like steel or aluminum more, and what type of straps you have? But that's just a look at the Flint Hill Goods Steel Hitch Cargo Carrier on the back of our 2022 Ford Bronco Sport. I'm Matt. Thanks for watching.
Here we are on our test course. As we hit the alternating bumps, you can see what it would be like to hit a pothole on the road. Our solid speed bumps simulate pulling in and out of a driveway or hitting a speed bump in a parking lot. We use the slalom portion of our course to simulate the side-to-side movement, such as turning corners or evasive maneuvers.